I'm Neil Tomlinson from Summit Truck Group, the service manager at our Wichita Falls location. I'd like to take just a few moments to talk to you about battery and alternator maintenance and why it's important to you. Battery failure and alternator failure are some of the leading causes to downtime for professional truck drivers.
Okay, first of all, we'll perform a battery corrosion inspection. We're going to check your battery cables, your cable ends. We're just going to check the grounds to the frame, the block. We're also going to check the connections on the alternator. We're looking for any corrosion or loose connections at this point. Perform a battery load test. First of all, make sure you get the wheels chalked on the vehicle. Safety is always first. We're going to disconnect the batteries, separate them completely. We're going to hook up our Midtronics tester, enter in all the information. We're going to get the load test on the batteries. We're then going to print this out for the customers. They can view that and actually see whether or not their batteries have failed or need to be replaced, or if they're in good shape.
We need to make sure we inspect the alternator belt and the belt tensioners to make sure there's no unusual wear patterns on the belt, or the belt is cracking. Make sure the tensioner has the right tension on it. If you notice the belt, the tensioner vibrating quite a bit, usually it's an indication of the spring in the tensioner getting a little bit weak, and it possibly may need to replace the tensioner. If that belt slips and the alternator is not spinning like it needs to, in turn, which is not going to be charging your batteries.
Perform a starter draw test, and what we do, we've got our Midtronics hooked up just like we did on the battery load test, but we're now going to put the amp clamp on the positive cable going to the starter. We're going to crawl up in the vehicle, start the vehicle, and check the amp draw at that point. Midtronics will give you an indication of whether or not there's too much of an amp draw for the starter, and you could possibly need a starter replaced.
Sorry. Now that we've walked through all the steps on battery maintenance and alternator maintenance, I'd like to invite you to come to Summit Truck Group. Any of our locations have one of our certified technicians perform your inspection for you and keep you on the road.